directly during the broadcast, and other times we'll answer them afterwards. Put all your questions in Q&A or in the chat. And right now, if you would do me a favor inside the chat, why don't you put your name and where you're coming in from so we can just do a quick little shout out. Right now, we've got 67 participants that have just showed up so far. I see Alejandro M., Alvin, Andrew Lowry, Eamon Endres, Bruno Chung. We've got Daniel Owens. We've got Vince Cordero. Let's see, coming in from St. Louis, Ken from Tucson, David Kuguru, did I say that right, from T-Mobile? Heather Best from P&I Sensor. So we love seeing your names and we love seeing where you guys are coming in from. So we're gonna wait again a couple more minutes before we actually get the broadcast started. This will be the first time that we're broadcasting live on YouTube, also on LinkedIn. And again, all your questions, put them into Q&A or into chat. And all my panelists, why don't you guys all wave to, to everybody? We'll get it. How about we get a wave going?
No?
Zoom. Hey, we got Lawrence in it. Yeah, baby. There we go. Luis is in it. Okay.
Is that the first ever Zoom wave that anybody's ever done?
I think so. We've got John Kuken from Chimera Integrations. We've got Paul Nichols from Cargo Signal Solutions from Seattle, Washington. John Chambers from Moda Systems in Dallas. Doug in Austin. Let's see. Nottinghamshire, UK. Tim is in the house. We've got Palm Desert in the house. I like it.
All right.
How you feeling?
Yeah, should we get started? What do you think?
Yeah, I think I think maybe we'll. Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Yeah. Should we do that?
Yeah, we're a couple minutes in, so
okay.
I think hopefully
your screen up.
Most people should be here. So, okay, guys, we're gonna start just with a quick kickoff. So let me just share my screen here, so you guys can see what's going on today. So first of all, thanks everybody so much for joining. We are here with one of our awesome partners, Everynet. We're super excited to announce this partnership today. So of course we have our CEO, Kevin Bromberg, and then myself, head of sales, Cameron Roxy, and then we have the team from Everynet on as well. That's Lawrence, Gabe, and Tom on with us. And then special guest today, W Properties, one of our partners that's taking advantage of the Everynet Mydevices partnership and actually deploying real solutions, leveraging our solution as well as the Everynet network. So they're on, and they're gonna share an awesome slide deck with pictures and stories about the solution that they deployed, actually leveraging our technologies. So that's going to come a little later.
Out in Puerto Rico, yeah. No less.
So pretty cool stuff in store here. So why don't we go ahead and hand it over to the folks over at Everynet, who are going to do a quick background and overview of their company, and then we'll jump into the rest of the webinar. So Tom, take it away.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Nelson, our Chief Customer Officer. And at Everynet, I'm responsible for our global go-to-market. I'm physically located in Kansas City. Let me make an introduction over to Antonio.
Hey, thank you, Tom. Hi, everybody. I'm Antonio Terlitzi, Head of Global Sales. I'm located here in the office in close to Milano in Italy. So for us, it's already dark evening, very cold, freezing, almost freezing, but still good. No one in the office so far, so I can keep my laptop on the loud, no problem with headphones and stuff like that. So happy to be here. Handing over to Tim. Tim, please.
Yeah, thank you, Antonio. Yeah, my name is Tim Kipley. I'm Global Technical Director for Everynet, based in Austin, Texas, and pass it over to Gabe down there in San Diego.
Good morning, good afternoon. It's Gabriel Nave in San Diego, Vice President of Business Development for Everynet here in the US. And really excited to have everyone here this morning and be able to share about this exciting partnership. To kick it off for real on the Everynet side here, I'm going to turn it over to our CEO, Lawrence Latham.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Latham. I really appreciate everyone attending today. And Kevin and the Mydevices team, we really appreciate the partnership, and this is a very exciting way to get it started formally. Everynet was founded on the idea of making IoT easy. I've been in the IoT business, and many of the people on our team before it was called IoT and even M2M, and a long time before it was cool. So our goal is to make IoT easy and affordable and accessible. And what we do is we build national carrier grade networks. And these are proper tower-based networks that cover whole geographies. They're very dense. We don't just put up base stations on a tower in one city and call it done. They are purpose-built production networks that are used for metering applications and for logistics, asset tracking, and then I think you'll see a lot of the different examples today. We have production networks in Brazil, Indonesia, Spain, Andorra, and Iceland, and Puerto Rico. We have just expanded to Italy, and we're deploying there, and the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Puerto Rico was our first foray into the US, and now we're expanding out in several. We'll be covering 35 of the cities by the end of 2021, along with the logistics corridors. So, but what we do is we build neutral host wholesale networks, and we make this coverage available to partners such as mobile network operators, large solution providers, and MVNOs. And when we do that, we want to equip them with a go-to-market ecosystem. And that's where this partnership with Mydevices comes in, and what makes it so key. Between what Everynet does and what Mydevices do, we can hand somebody a turnkey IoT business. So that the combination of those two helps us achieve our goal of making IoT easy and affordable.
Yeah,
Kevin?
Yeah, no, that's great, Lawrence. Thanks so much. So I'm going to give a little bit of background about Mydevices, and then we're going to jump right into the meat of the actual offering when I kick it over to Cameron. But a little bit about Mydevices. So what we do is we enable carriers, managed service providers, system integrators to deploy white label solutions either through their own dashboards or through our own white label applications. And if you can click it to the next. Our mission, very similar to Everynet, is to simplify the connected world. How do we make things as easy as possible? And we launched the platform in 2015. We're located here in Los Angeles, California, but we have employees all over the world, in Sweden, in France, Romania, Poland, Belarus, I think still in Belarus. And our mission and our strategy is to enable others to deploy commercial-ready solutions to their customers. And the reason we decided to do that with our business strategy is we realized that system integrators and managed service providers, they're the ones who have the great relationships with hospitals and factories and campuses, and they're the ones that they need to go sell to their customers. So we enable those types of customers. Some of the highlights, T-Mobile uses our IoT platform, BASF, world's largest chemical company, Sodexo, Engie, great partnerships with Microsoft. And so just to kind of give an example, let's go to the next. One of the things that makes us very unique is the ability to mix and match all the different sensors from all the different manufacturers. And the reason that's important is because if you're going to go sell to an end customer like a factory, they typically aren't going to have one problem. Maybe they want to do predictive maintenance on really big motors, but they also want to do like water metering. And they don't want to have to go find 50 different platforms with 50 different solutions. So the ability to mix and match any sensor to solve any problem is really critical. And here's just a real world example. So Sprint, right before COVID, with their thousands of sales reps, just to kind of give you an idea of sales within about a 60 to a 90-day period of time, they were able to deploy to a hospital, you can go to the next one, to a hospital, to arenas, to restaurants, to university, to a farm, to lab, to a golf club, and you can see on and on and on and on and on. And what that shows you is it's not only easy to sell our solutions, but also to deploy them. These are actual real deployments and real customer engagements. So let's get to the actual product offering. I'm going to kick it over to Cameron, and he's going to show you exactly how you guys can go and sell to your end customer. So Cameron, take it away.
Yeah, we're actually just going to start off with a really quick video, guys. So this is just 3 minutes. We'll give a great overview, and then we'll dive into some screen share, demo, and all of that. So take a look. Here's how the partnership between Mydevices and Everynet makes it easy to deploy hundreds of sensors and solutions on the Everynet network. Everynet has successfully deployed a multinational IoT network with coverage throughout the world. Mydevices offers a library of over 400 different solutions and sensors that are all pre-programmed and pre-configured to work without any additional effort. I'm going to say that again. Mydevices offers over 400 different sensors and solutions that are all pre-programmed and pre-configured to work without any additional effort. Just scan it and use it. You can choose from any of the pre-packaged solutions like Push and Protect, SimplySense, Countario, or mix and match from our library of devices to build your own solution. Once you find the solution you're looking for, use the Mydevices app to scan the QR code. This automatically activates your device on the network, as well as on the Mydevices app or any third-party app or platform of your choice. By using the Mydevices app, you have the ability to leverage our powerful set of features. You can manage multiple locations, select a specific location to see the sensor data associated with that location, select a specific device to view historical data based on that sensor, set alert thresholds based on the device data, set an unlimited list of contacts to receive alerts via text and/or email, set alert rules like don't alert me during certain times or change the alert conditions at certain times. Use our sensor mapping tool to visualize data on a floor map. Add corrective action notes to devices in alert state. Add an unlimited list of contacts with different user permissions like can view, can edit, or admin. And take normalized, decoded data and forward to any third-party app or platform for customized reporting, automated work ticketing, digital checklists, and more. By licensing the platform, you have access to all of these plug-and-play solutions and features, and you can customize the app with your logo and your colors to integrate seamlessly with your business. Mydevices and Everynet have come together to give you the ability to easily deploy over 400 sensors and solutions, all connected to the Everynet network. For more information or to begin. All right, guys, so that is the quick overview. Now, what we're unveiling today as part of this partnership is this Everynet Mydevices joint marketplace here, where you guys can go to learn more information about it. I'm just going to run through a quick overview of it, and then we'll even get into the platform and some more of the details, talk about the business model, talk about how guys like W Properties who we're talking with today are actually leveraging exactly what I'm about to show you to make real revenue added to their business and bring value to their customers. So on the site, what you see here are, first of all, pre-provisioned gateways, as well as leveraging the existing network that's available from Everynet. As I scroll down, what you'll see is, first of all, prepackaged solutions. And in fact, we're going to get into that in a little more detail. What are the hot solutions out there today? Like what's selling? What are people asking for? But first, what I'll show you is, as I scroll down, when we talked about in the video, the hundreds of different sensors that you can mix and match, that's what this is showing here. Sensors for anything from air quality to leak detection to door sensors, temperature monitoring, panic buttons, rat traps, occupancy sensors, light sensors, sound sensors, parking sensors, electrical sensors. Okay, I could keep going, but there's all kinds of different sensors that you can mix and match. Now,
hold on, what about these? These are big water quality sensors. Sorry.
No, yeah, it's it wouldn't be you if you weren't throwing me off my group. So, okay. The cool part about all these sensors and the traditional challenges that we see when integrators come and they're looking to deploy IoT solutions, right? Somebody knocks on their door, the customer comes to them and says, hey, I've got a problem, I need to solve it. Traditionally, the problem is, if you take a look at all these sensors, imagine you guys as solution providers or integrators or managed service providers having to go out and find all these sensors on the marketplace from all of these different manufacturers, Decent Lab, Dragino, Moco, Elsys, right? That's the first task. And then you've got to acquire the sensor. Then you've got to do some testing on your own. Then you have to program the sensor and provision it to the LoRa network. And then you have to forward that data into an application and then decode it and normalize it and then send it into an application. That's just for one sensor. Now imagine doing that for 100 sensors, 500 sensors, 1,000 sensors, 10,000 sensors, right?
It's ridiculous.
It's impossible. So what we've created is the ability for you to just mix and match. You can say, I want one of these trash bin sensors, 2 of these CO2 sensors, a temperature sensor, whatever else. They come shipped to you. And as you can see, as you saw in that video, I should say, all you have to do is take the device, scan the QR code, and boom, it's immediately up and running and working, already connecting to the Everynet network. And all of the data then shows inside of our visualization software inside of our app. Now, this is where it goes one of 2 directions. It just depends on who you are, what your business model is, what your area of expertise is. So the first thing that happens for a lot of our partners is they instantly then take the data that they've scanned in and they integrate that data into their existing system or their customer's existing system. This can be a custom dashboard. It can be a work ticketing system, a digital checklist system, OSHA or HACCP compliance system that they run.
Salesforce.
It could be Hot Sauce and Hospitality, Power BI for custom dashboards. So we have a ton of one-click integrations. And then we also have our webhook integration, which allows you to insert any URL that you want. So you can take the data from the devices and just dump it into any app. Now, the power of this and what's so important about it, if I show you a sample payload, for example.
Hold on a second. We have a question.
Okay, hit me.
Okay. Is the platform also located in Europe, so it apply for European privacy laws?
Yes.
Yes. GDPR, absolutely, 100%. You can actually go to your account, My Data. And by the way, I was asking that question because Richard Clark asked that question in the Q&A. And we're going to jump back into Cameron's spiel, but I just love to kind of throw him off his game sometimes just to see if he can pick up where it is. But the answer is yes. What happens is the data is properly provisioned in the right regions, and you have the ability from GDPR, download your data, delete the data, or at least your users do. One of the other questions that was in here is Raphael was asking, how many people can manage the contact list? Can it be an owner plus other people? Like, how do you, like, about contacts, can you add a whole bunch of people?
Yeah, okay, so contacts, user management, location management, and to answer the GDPR question, you can go right into My Data, permanently delete everything, download personal data, all of that's there. You can go in and add unlimited contacts into the account. So you can have edit permissions, admin permissions, view permissions. And in fact, coming very soon is this grouping feature, which actually allows you to drag and drop and put different devices, allocate them to different locations. You can see I can make different locations subgroupings of other locations and then bring sensors into those subgroups. So there's a really high level of hierarchy and rules and permissions that you can show and that you can build inside of the app. And that's really important for especially enterprise grade deployments or large deployments where there's tons of people interacting with the data. So yes, is the answer.
Sorry.
That's all right. Those are good questions though.
Thanks.
So, okay, scan the device in, data's instantly flowing. You don't have to do any work. You literally just scan it in and it works. And then now we can forward data to any third-party system or app. Now I'm showing this payload info here, which I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of the technical stuff, but there's something really important that goes on here. And that is that when you scan that QR code and the data comes to Mydevices and you send it out to any dashboard, any platform, any system, the structure that data is sent in is identical no matter which sensor it is. So I come through here and I look at 400 sensors. Like I said in the beginning, if you were to integrate these all one at a time and go out there and try to manage all this on your own, you'd have 500 different payload types that you have to come in and normalize. So every time you bring in a sensor, it's a new integration into any app or system. But by leveraging our solution, you scan the device in, you forward the data. Once you have the logic for how you can parse this out and make it work in your platform, it then works for all of the devices. So instantly that app or platform is immediately compatible now with 400 plus sensors. And as we continue to build that library, the compatibility grows for all of those as well.
So if you go back into the dashboard, what you're saying is I scan this, even though it's from a manufacturer called MKE Wateco,
Yep.
and I scan this from Drivino, not only does the data then show up in the app here, but then it's all normalized data is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So you can visualize it in our app and our platform, send it into any other platform, but the data is all normalized. So on the flip side of that, I'd say the other chunk of our partners are just taking this exact application, and you saw in the video all the different features that it has. They white label it, their logo, their colors, runs on their domain, your domain, and then that solution is capable by itself of being a full IoT solution that you can offer to enterprise grade customers all the way through SMB, public sector, federal. These solutions have all of the features, so this platform has all the features that you need to go to market exactly as is. So two ways to go to market. You can bring the sensors in, scan them into the app, and sell them as is. That's what you see here. Or they can be integrated into either a customer app dashboard or an integrator's solution that they've already created.
So when you say white label, it's not just the image up on the top left where it says IoT in a box. You can actually, you put your brand there, but like how deep does the white label go? Like, what does that really mean?
Yeah, so the white label is actually way more than just taking a platform and reskinning it and putting your logo on it. First of all, you do get web dashboards and mobile dashboards with all of the features. But there's also what we call our Backend Iot Console. And this is really where the magic happens. What we do is we just basically take a copy of our platform that we've created, and you get your own private realm where that lives. So it's your logo, your colors, your domain. But within your realm, you have access to all of your customers that have deployed under your white label app. So you can view them in a back admin office like what you're seeing here. And as an example, I can go into one of these accounts and I can see, here's Zach. This is his login info. Here is the location that he, is the general manager for. Here's all of the different sensors he has at that location. I can add devices to his account. I can remove them. I can disable his account if he's not paying. I can even remote access his account if I need to do customer support. So part of that white label is not just white labeling, it's actually giving you a full-on IoT business structure, application, front-end, back-end, and everything.
Okay, so let me just pause there for a second. Let me just make sure that everybody understands. So when you showed that first piece, that was the front-end progressive web application. It works on mobile and on web. So iOS, Android, web.
Yep.
They can rebrand that. And that's what gets deployed to their customers, or just even their installers might use it to set up devices if they're using their own dashboard, right?
Yep.
And then what you're showing on this other thing is this back end, this whole back office.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that this was really important that we created this, as we've had all these years developing, is we realized that the capabilities in the back is just as important as the front, being able to look up those customers, upload devices. In fact, a lot of actual deployments now that we're doing is even easier than QR code. We haven't really announced this yet, but the ability to do bulk deployments. So if you have 13,000 locations, as opposed to just going there and scanning in each location, you can actually come in here and pre-set up an account. Is that right?
Yeah, you can just bulk upload devices, and that's actually really interesting because it's a question we get a lot. Like the QR scan is really important because it jumps you from acquiring devices and having to do all this hand-on coding and programming to actually make it work. You can literally just scan and use it. But the next evolution of that, the next step is, okay, that's great, but my customer has 500 locations. They're going to need 10,000 sensors. You're telling me I have to scan 10,000 sensors with the QR code? Well, the answer is no. You do bulk deployments where you can actually pre-build the accounts before anything's even deployed. So that way, when the installers show up, they're just placing devices where they need to go and turning them on, but the account is all set up and all the data is already here. So once everything's turned on, they're ready to go immediately. So that's really how we enable really fast deployment. And I would argue that the back end might even be more important than the front end when it comes to what we're actually delivering to our partners to help them go to market.
Yeah, I think so too, because a lot of customers might be deploying through their own customers. So in other words, they have partners who resell for them, and you'll see in the application their users and roles and applications. They can create multiple applications and have different roles and permissions for other companies that want to deploy. One of the questions that Richard Clark asked in the Q&A, he said, you mentioned LoRa as a main network. He says, I presume IoT device can be connected to your platform by any means, like 4G or Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, depending on the device connection type, of course. And the answer to that is?
Yes. So we have 4G devices, Wi-Fi devices, LoRa devices, really anything. I would say the caveat to that, not really the caveat, but my feedback on that would be, if you look at this library of devices, this isn't because we made ourselves solely only look for LoRa devices to bring into our marketplace and to make work with our platform. This is because we said, anybody bring your device into our platform, and 90% of the people that showed up were LoRa devices. And the reason for that is because in this industry, LoRa devices, from what we've seen at least, are by far the most commercially viable, ready, available, scalable, long battery life, and all of that. So that's why you'll see it's mostly made up of LoRa devices. But we do have a lot of deployments, and it just depends on what the customer needs. There are situations where maybe cellular is the way to go. It's better for whatever reason, or maybe any other protocol might make more sense for that particular solution, and that's fine. But that's why you see a majority of these as LoRa devices.
Yeah. So, and then one of the other Q&A, and by the way, if you don't mind, let's look at a finished solution. So we're talking about all these sensors, but at the end of the day, when you take the sensors and you take the Everynet network, right? Whether it's a private network on a gateway that's deployed or using the public network. When you take the sensors and the connectivity with the LoRa and you put that together, which is all included, you come up with full solutions. So things like the Predict Alert, maybe we want to show like predictalert.com or something like a full turnkey solution. You can deploy the full turnkey solutions, or you can do the mix and match. One of the questions in the Q&A is, actually we're implementing a few IoT devices on our location. Raphael's saying for his location. And instead of using a reseller, can they deploy using their own? The answer is yes. So our strategy is to enable other B2B partners, whether they're resellers or large enterprise. That's actually quite a large one. Another question was Mauro Pincini, and I'm sorry if I messed up your name. How would you say that?
I would say just how you said it.
Really?
Piccini.
Okay, from Sao Paulo, Brazil. How are we have such devices available in our country? Well, you don't have to buy the devices directly from us. That's the beautiful thing. You can source them locally, because I know that there's pretty big issues with import taxes and stuff. Hit us up offline. We can tell you where you can get these devices that are all compatible with the system. And then Cameron is now showing a prepackaged solution of Push and Protect, which is, go ahead.
Yep. So, okay. So Kevin mentioned, I'll pause this just really quickly. Kevin mentioned, I'll go back to the marketplace for some context, right? So we talk about being able to mix and match all these different sensors and deploy any solution. If you scroll up, these are the packaged solutions that we've developed or marketed. And this is based on market demand, right? What's popular out there? What's being sold today? What are customers asking for? So the one I'm going to show you is actually what we call our Push and Protect solution. And what this is leveraging, the Everynet network. You can take LoRa panic button devices and then Bluetooth technology, bundle all of that together, and you get an actual panic button solution. So what you see on this video on the screen is this is an employee worker or a hotel worker, a housekeeper, let's say. That housekeeper is in trouble. They push their panic button. Alerts are sent to security saying, hey, there's an emergency. And inside of our app, we actually show their exact location within the hotel. As that person runs or moves, the location updates. So you always know where that person is, so that help can get there immediately. So that's a packaged solution, and it's same technology, same app, same everything. We're just bundling things together to create packaged solutions. And then what we do with these, what we call our featured solutions, is that we then even include what we call our how to sell materials. So if I jump in here, you'll actually see not only do we package the solution up and say, hey, here's what's selling, go market this to your customers, but here's the email scripts if you're going to hotels or for schools. Copy paste this email, send it out to your prospects. Here is the video that demos the solution. So if they have questions about it, here's what you show them. Here's how to generate a quote for that solution, suggested retail pricing, customer references, ROI calculators, if it's a solution that provides ROI, PowerPoint, sales presentations, competitor comparison charts. So all of that, it's not just the solution, but it's the sales enablement material as well. And there's several more of these as well.
And there is one more question that I am going to answer live because I think it's important. So Seth is asking a question. He says, if can the Mydevices platform support our customers who in turn want to deploy solutions to their customers? And I won't go into the specific use case, but if do we have the multi-tenant parent-child levels seen as a top managed service provider? And the answer is yes. So you can provide your customers the ability to deploy down to their customers. So there's an unlimited level of multi-tenancy. Do you think we should, and there's other questions that we'll answer in a second, but we're coming up to the time where I think we should turn it over to our friends, Neville and Luis, who are in Puerto Rico, who have taken the Everynet network with the Mydevices platform and actually going and solving real problems. We won't want to steal their thunder as to what they're doing, and they can introduce themselves. And then we'll answer some of these other questions after or during their presentation. But Neville and Luis, should we kick it over to you?
Thank you very much, Kevin and Cameron. Hello, everybody. My name is Neville Cruz. As Kevin said, I'm representing Double Properties Telecommunications and also Beacon Technologies. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that combination. But first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity of exposing and talking about what the things we're doing in Puerto Rico. So as Kevin stated, a little bit more than between June and July, we started with this project formally. Luis and I, we both came from the carrier side of the telecommunications industry. We have worked in that side of the house for many years, not to say the exact figure, but last year both we had our own operations, our own practices, our own companies, and we joined forces in a company called W Properties Telecommunications. W Properties has a lot of different services that we provide, but essentially you can summarize that into developing telecommunications infrastructure. So when we start meeting with Everynet and Mydevices last year, we immediately came with the idea of creating a subsidiary, a group exclusively dedicated to this, because honestly, we really thought it was the next evolution for both of us. Honestly, for Puerto Rico, we knew some people from both companies from the past, so we decided to put our full blast effort on this, because we really believe it would be great for Puerto Rico. Everynet has a great footprint, impacting virtually all the main population centers in the island, all the main businesses in the island. So we decided to go with this, also with Mydevices, which in our opinion has a great portfolio. It's a very easy to deal with, to work with, great people. So that's basically what we're doing in terms of our plans. And I'll be passing the word to Luisa to go into details for one of the things we're doing already. But we all know this has thousands of different applications and wonderful things we can work with, and that's the beauty of the IoT, specifically LoRa networks. But obviously, in order for us to focus in 2 or 3 different niches, specifically related to Puerto Rico profile, we selected like 3 use cases we are focusing our efforts on. The first one is everything related to generators monitoring, and in that category we are doing things like obviously the obvious one, fuel level monitoring, but also we are putting some IO technology in it. Again, we're going into that briefly. Another thing we are actually working very hard with is the temperature and humidity applications, and with that we are right now contacting retailers, supermarkets, warehouses, restaurants, fast food, and obviously the reception has been very good. So this is another thing we are actually very involved with. The third one is a very interesting one in the context of the COVID-19, which is the air quality monitoring. Needless to say that obviously being for a long period of time in closed and indoor environment is a little bit risky in the context of COVID-19 again. So one of the things we are starting to discuss with the local government, which actually is a new one, it's a new administration, is looking for ways to provide more security, more peace of mind to parents, to students, to teachers in the public schools, for example, and also in the private schools, and in general in closed and indoor environments. So that's the third thing we are also working in the Puerto Rico market right now. So we put together, actually Luis put together some slides showing a little bit of what we are doing in the generator side of the house. So having said that, thank you for the opportunity. Available for any questions. I'll pass that to Luis.
Hey, Neville, before we pass it to Louise, a comment for you. You're talking about, generator monitoring and fuel level monitoring. It's really a big issue in Puerto Rico, isn't it? With with the storms that are coming through, the continuity of keeping a very solid base of electricity for, fast chain restaurants or other the whole infrastructure of Puerto Rico, this is really a critical issue, isn't it?
No, that's absolutely right. Actually, that's precisely that's the main focus right now, because for everybody that is from the Caribbean, anytime that we are approaching the summer, everybody was to start to shake a little bit because of the hurricane season starting June 1st. But you're right. Everybody has a generator, thousands of generators in Puerto Rico that we need to take care of. It's a great opportunity for the island to be way more effective, handling the operational. So absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, and just a note actually about the network in Puerto Rico. So the deployed network actually has 3 sources of backhaul for each of the gateways in there, which really provides network redundancy. And then additionally, being that some of these areas actually have large power issues, and of course that's why the generators are there. Each of the deployments actually have 4 days of battery backup in the event that the city power goes out for extended periods of time as well. So yeah, Neville, we really love working with you all, and I think you're doing a great thing there for the area of Puerto Rico.
Likewise. You also brought a very important point, and you talk about, Tim, about the redundancy in the sites where you are basically transmitting and propagating the signal. That's very important, because, for example, if you take the other national networks, honestly, on a per site basis, the redundancy you guys put together for each site is way better than the regular redundancy power backup that normally we find in the cellular base stations. So that's another great value for this network. Obviously, it's way more reliable, and also it's an alternative. Again, this is a separate network handling this exclusive traffic, different from the other ones, which obviously it's a mixed traffic. So it's a lot of advantages that we immediately fell in love with this kind of technology. So yeah, absolutely. Luis.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for the invitation as well. As Neville said, our background is more from the carrier side, like cellular. We have been, Neville didn't say it, but it's 20 plus years. We've been in the industry here in Puerto Rico. And as Neville mentioned, we have a big issue with continuity due to the power outages when we have hurricanes. And last 3 years, we were hit by Maria, which have been one of the biggest hurricanes here in the island. And everybody wants to be prepared. So that's why we moved to focus on the generator cases. And I just want to go very briefly on several things that can be done with the generators. So as Neville mentioned, the first one is the one that is showing in the web, is the measuring the fuel level, the diesel level. Normally, most of the generators are diesel, so that's why you are seeing, like, we're measuring the tank dimension. So based on that tank dimension, we put a sensor, could be either sonar or even with a cable, and then with that is plugging into the platform of Mydevices, so we can see the level of the percentage of the tank that we have. As Cameron was saying, you can put a lot of thresholds. So you can put like a 25% threshold, 10%, 50%. So it can give you a notification, like an email, like an SMS. So whenever you want to refuel that, it will send you a notification. On the next slide, Cameron, please. We have IO control. This is a very powerful sensor because it have 2 digital input, 2 analog input, also have digital output and a relay output. So in this case, we are using it as a relay. So in case that we have this generator in the middle of the island, you can restart it from remote. So you don't have to go. If you see on the left a picture, there's a start. In case that it doesn't start automatically, you can do a reset from remote, closing that relay. But it can do a lot of combination. For example, you can put a digital input, and if, let's say, some door is open or something, some shelter door is open, it can turn on the generator, and you can do a lot of stuff with this IO controller.
Hey, Luis, I got a question. On the image that's on my left, I see like a little control panel. Have you guys tried the Modbus one on that one yet, or not so much? Does that one have Modbus or not so much?
Yeah, what happened in this case, actually, I think that's the next slide, but in this case, these generators are kind of old, doesn't have RS485 Modbus. It do have USB, but this device, this is a controller, Deep Sea Electronics. In this case, they don't have RS485, but they do have them in new generators. So yeah. I think if you pass the next slide, Cameron, I think there's a Modbus. That's the other one that we are beginning. I just received mine from Mydevices, so we are testing with it. Because as I mentioned, you need to have RS485 in the generator so you can do. But yes, this is the best to do it, because it will give you all those measurements that are in the right, RPM, oil pressure, engine runtime, fuel level, all of that will give it to you in a single sensor, which is great. So yeah, there's a little engineering there, that because you have to match all the measurements from the generator to the registers. So it's not like plug and play, but it can be done. Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting. Which is really kind of cool about the power of that, because you'd mentioned there's, the generators before didn't have the RS485 Modbus, but that didn't mean that you still couldn't provide great value to the end customer. And that's the ability to walk on site and to mix and match all the different sensors from different manufacturers. Because, you would think, oh, it's just a generator, we just do one thing, but that's not the case. If it's an old generator, you use your relays. If it's a new one, you can use the Modbus, gives you more power either way. Yeah, that's super cool. Sorry to interrupt, but just a question. We do have somebody from Q&A. I want to ask you a question. So Diane is actually, how do you find in court prospects? Like, who within the end user organization do you speak with? So, and I guess like the ones that you're looking at right now, the use cases that you guys are going for, can you give an example perhaps of like, who you would talk to and without going too much secret sauce, but like what's your mindset about how you would like go to sell this thing? Because I think most people, that's what they want to do. They want to go and sell and rinse and repeat. How do you guys go about that?
In our case, basically is touching, calling. We have a lot of contacts in the industry. Actually, I used to work for a company which was focused on selling internet to corporate customers, like supermarket, like government, like. So I say is if you want to do, I think the key here is focus. For example, as Neville mentioned, we are focusing on generators. We know that most of the people have generators, so it's difficult to touch base, right? But for example, a change of a restaurant, for example, if we want to do like temperature, we have, I don't know, a supermarket that have, I don't know, 20 supermarkets where we get to the decision maker, so we can do a trial, proof of concept. And if we do good on that one, we do the 15th restaurant, for example. So as the question was said, it's like a cold call. So you have to go there, touch base, but obviously you need to talk to the decision makers, and especially when there are like a chains of a restaurant or supermarkets, because with maybe one contact you can do, I don't know, 20, 25. I think that's the key on that.
Well, I would add that we definitely need to focus, because again, if otherwise we'll be throwing all over the place. So we need to focus in 2 or 3 niches that we we know it will be contributing efficiencies to the operation of the customer. So, and it can be operational efficiencies, cost effectiveness, et cetera, But in terms of how to contact them, right. How to contact them, I would say, let's look for any association or entity that group, some of the biggest one in any country, any market. That's one of the things. And in our case, for example, mobile carriers, obviously we know that for each market, there are not too many of them, maybe 3, 4, 5, more than that. So that's another thing, retailers, food chains, contacting one, suddenly we have a lot of potential places to put sensors on. So that would be my advice.
That's good feedback. Maybe what we should do is, should we open it up to the whole panel right now? Just talk about top solutions, just in general. And Neville, Luis, thanks so much. And curious to have everybody participate in the panel right now. And let's talk about some top solutions right now that everybody's kind of seeing out there. I know this is kind of dangerous saying, hey, everybody chime in. So, if anybody has something, why don't you just go ahead and jump in. We of course, never stop talking. I guess when I say we, I mean me. And we have some top solutions we can share, but I'd be curious to know from the panel, does anybody want to share what they're seeing out there in the world that's hot right now?
Kevin, I'll throw one out there. The whole area, it's interesting. So every IoT use case could be perhaps a little bit different by country. So as we see, the differences in the electrical grid in Puerto Rico, driving generators and fuel and sensing. One of the things I'm seeing is IIoT or industrial IoT. So especially with the pandemic and in thinking about a distributed supply chain, everyone's worried about keeping their factories full and actually distributing manufacturing to other partners that are creating parts for them. So using IoT and interesting applications to make sure that their factories are running smoothly, and we can proactively determine issues before they occur that might say we've got a manufacturing line issue and there's something going on there that I need to maintain, predictively solve for before that goes down, either in a physical factory or a distributed factory as supply chain is becoming more and more important.
Yeah, that's a good point. And by the way, we didn't comment on the live broadcast, but Lawrence, I love the background. I love that purple. And we are jealous. And it is not cool that you're upstaging us because we have a studio, but you've got the colors, and that's not cool.
Company colors, man. Company colors.
Yeah. There is an interesting use case that we've just recently started getting a lot of inquiries about, and that's indoor air quality. And it's happening in Europe. And it's happening in the United States. So what I would suggest you guys all do, these participants, we have over 101 people that are live right now on the chat. Just Google Chicago Teachers Union and air quality. And you'll start to see that all these schools out there and elderly homes and stuff like that, they want to know the CO2 levels. At the end of the day, that's what it is, temp and humidity, because of not just COVID, but it's going to be beyond that. And you're also seeing European law. So we're seeing it in Spain, we're seeing it in France. So that's a hot one. Maybe the panic buttons like lone worker, that's coming back again.
Yeah, panic buttons are definitely coming back, and it's spreading beyond just hotels. It's going into schools, it's going into elderly care, senior living, that sort of thing. I think, air quality has just been all over the place. We just keep hearing about it. Temperature monitoring with the COVID vaccine, we've had a lot of requests and demand for ultra low freezer sensors and things like that to monitor vaccines. And you would think that just comes from healthcare, but it's actually spreading into other industries too. Even school districts are inquiring because they're under the impression that they might have to actually store some of these vaccines or things like that. So it's spreading beyond just healthcare and like the major vaccine providers or even pharmaceutical companies. So that's been really interesting as well. I think predictive maintenance as well has been good. Actually, the one that came up a couple months ago was leak detection around protecting assets like a commercial real estate building or a hotel or an office space. And one final one I would say is occupancy. There's a solution that we deployed to a corporate building where the challenge they had was their janitors that are on staff or their facilities team that's on staff is used to cleaning conference rooms like in the morning, middle of the day, and the end of the day. But now they're being told that in order to keep this building open, we need to clean or at least sanitize rooms after every single meeting. So people go into the conference room, they come out, and you have to sanitize it before that room's, you're able to have another meeting in that room. And they were having trouble because you have to have eyes on those rooms at all times. So just by putting occupancy sensors in those rooms, it'll say meeting started, meeting ended, text message or work ticket, and go sanitize the room. So those are some of the examples that I've seen.
Yeah, and just to lean in a little bit more on Diane's question, she says like, who would you talk to in these organizations? It depends on the use case. So like temperature monitoring, we actually like locations where there's one person with lots of refrigerators they have to manage. If you have one refrigerator and lots of people surrounding it, it's not so important. So at hospitals, it's the director of pharmacy, it's the director of lab, and it's the director of food services. 3 different individuals with 3 different P&Ls. Those are the ones you can email for temperature monitoring. If it's for panic buttons at hotels, it's usually the general manager at the hotel, because if they don't meet the mandates, they'll get fined. So whoever has the most pain inside the organization, and we love mandates. I mean, yeah, we love mandates.
We love mandates.
We love mandates. If they have to do it, that's what's important. So. How about some of the guys over at Everynet? What do you guys think? Is there anything that's popping on the list? Gabe, Antonio, what do you guys think?
I mean, you guys mentioned cold chain monitoring, and I think we skipped over the Food Safety Modernization Act compliance part of that as well, which has historically just been with temp trackers that then have to get downloaded at the end of the day via USB stick or some other means, and we're seeing just a tremendous interest in being able to do that over LoRa now.
Yeah, we're seeing that. And we've got if the tracker goes out, it actually stores it on the device. It still does a data log, but then when it comes back into the network, so let's say it goes into some weird area, it will actually upload back through the Everynet network and into the platform. So that's a good one.
Yeah. And in the supply chain thing, also just monitoring temperature, humidity, and shock around electronic shipments as well, just because the risk associated with pallets getting dropped, temperatures getting too warm or too cold, either way. Those kinds of things we're seeing a lot of interest around.
Yeah, cool. And
as you mentioned before, Kevin, these requests for environmental indoor sensors is popping up a lot, especially in the last period, because of teachers going back to school, students going back to school, and offices being now more and more full of people, not any longer so empty like in the past. So they want to make sure the CO2 is at a certain level that can open up door and windows in order to get fresh air inside. So everybody is very keen to put all the different measurements in order to make, let's say, the safer place where they live and where they work. Another solution that they are bringing and asking us is contact tracing. So they would like to have people back in the office, but with taking measurements in order not to get too close to each other, and being capable, if somebody is getting, unfortunately, the COVID, to understand which were the relationship he had in the past. So he can do it with a database and then isolate the cases that have contacted the virus.
Yeah, that's good. So Seth is asking an Everynet question about how does the network fit into the overall ecosystem? Is it only applicable in cities and regions where they already have tower infrastructure? And what's the ability of, the Everynet's infrastructure to non-served areas? So somebody over at the Everynet side, that'd be great to maybe answer that.
For the US guy, I'll take. Yep. Oh, go ahead, Lawrence.
Because I was just typing him an answer, and so it's interesting he used the choice of word extended, and that's exactly what we call that program, because no national network is going to reach every single place, and just and so we have a program that we call our extended network program. So in cases like this, we work, for example, straight from the Mydevice, from what you showed. There are already pre-provisioned gateways that are available. You can acquire one of those, and it will connect to the national network. And we could go into more detail if you would like to reach out to any one of us to do that. While I'm talking, I had a quick follow-up question for Neville. You know, we hear a lot of times people, because it seems so easy at first. I can buy a LoRa gateway and, you know, I can buy a couple sensors and do all this. I think the Mydevices guys have shown us you know, they do make it easy, but on the back end, there was a lot of work that went into that people have to do. From the standpoint of just the network, how did you decide, instead of building your own, or to use the public national network? How did you make that decision?
Well, first of all, as I explained, I come from the cellular world for many years. So specifically about Puerto Rico, Lawrence, having an alternative or a separated infrastructure to handle this kind of traffic is key. You know, during the hurricane, natural disasters, you know, having and actually the reception of precisely the cellular carriers in Puerto Rico has been very good because of that same reason. You know, even though they are the owners of the cellular network, they prefer to have, for their own operation, they prefer to have a separate infrastructure or way to transmit this kind of traffic. Needless to say that obviously they will be looking, as we all know, they are looking for ways to monetize and create a business out of this in their own infrastructure. But from the standpoint of the needs and the potential in Puerto Rico, you know, taking into account Puerto Rico needs, geographical locations, and all that, we really believe that having a LoRaWAN network, you know, available to handle this kind of traffic, which is obviously a reliable one, is very important. And needless to say, you know, obviously there are other places, for example, in Puerto Rico's case, the center of the island, that footprint isn't there yet. Obviously, we are more than willing to use gateways and use cellular networks, obviously, because you know, the end user is at the end of the day the most important thing. And you know, if they will be requiring a solution that covers not only areas where the Everynet's footprint is present, but also in other ones, we're going to be obviously preparing a whole package for them, including both. But that, you know, it's having Hurricane Maria 3.5 years ago was a big lesson for all of us. You know, even though during the last 3 years, the whole industry has been working very hard, you know, improving, you know, the network infrastructure and the resiliency of that. Having a separate, you know, via or traffic infrastructure to handle this is key. It's
Okay.
key. That's one of the reasons. Number one, this network is exclusive for this kind of traffic. You know, we don't have to fight for with the voice, with data, with video, with text. So it's that's another good point.
Yeah, thank you. So Kevin, you know, the ability, the initial question about extended networks, the beauty of this partnership is with the store, everything that anybody needs is right there. Together we've made it easy and achieved the dream of the founders of our company.
I couldn't agree more. I'm super excited. I mean, I think, you know, for years, right, Lawrence, we've always been talking about making things easy and going to market, but the reality is I think we're finally there. I mean, your guys' amazing network and all these places around the world. First of all, you know, not having to deploy a gateway where you have coverage is like a game changer. And then the partnership that we have together truly does simplify. So at the end of the day, companies like, Neville and Louise, that all they have to do is really just go find a customer and go sell it, and as opposed to having to piece everything together. So yeah, I'm super stoked about it. And I think that great opportunity. 2021, I think is gonna be a great year for both of us. I don't know how you're feeling, but it seems like the business is starting to wake up again. So
So yeah, this is for everybody that's out there. I know we're at the top of the hour, so everybody's busy. We'll let you guys go here, but the next steps for everybody, if you want to learn more about this, if you're interested in pricing, if you're interested in, hey, I want to leverage Everynet and Mydevices to go deploy solutions to my customers, go to mydevices.com/Everynet, and that will take you to this marketplace here. You can take a look at the sensors and the devices available, the solutions, but I would say just click this Get in Touch button or the contact button up here, fill out a short form, and we will reach out to you straight away, get on the phone, answer all your questions, go over pricing, go over next steps, and all of that. So please go to the site, mydevices.com/Everynet, and we will look forward to setting up some calls after this, and we'll talk to you all soon.
yeah, thanks everybody for joining, and thanks to all the panelists. If there's any unanswered questions, which I do see in the Q&A, we'll answer them after the fact. And thanks again, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of the week. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.